his righteousness. To him who perish, this is foolishness.
A human being in the U.S. could never imagine. And for this guy to go before the UN and say, things are going great, we have socioeconomic progress.
Right, he on the phone. Busy guy.
So call me after the emergency room, or I'll call you back right after this interview.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
Hey, Danny.
All right. Take care. Bye.
How are you?
Peace, Jabari. How you doing?
Very, very well. Very, very well. Thank you so much for doing this, man. And I know that you're a very busy guy, so I want to definitely get right into it. So you'll probably be new to my viewers. I don't know if they ever watch TeleSUR, ever watch Press TV, but if you could just give an introduction of yourself. I remember you from the PSL. So good to see you again.
Yeah, peace. Good to see you. Thanks for the work that you do. Yeah, I remember you. It's been a few years, and hope you holding it down up there in New Haven. Same struggle across this country and world. Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where I was on one of the last flights out of Haiti, having no idea that this would become the #1 headline in the world. And that's a good starting point, Jabari, because Haitians are being displaced and massacred by the dozens and hundreds, thousands are being displaced from neighborhoods across Port-au-Prince, Matissan, Cité Soleil. So I've been back and forth to Haiti the entire winter, spring, into the summer. And that wasn't worthy of a U.S. headline.
Right.
But when they get, it really wasn't the president who was killed. It was a petty tyrant, a mediocre dictator who was ambushed and killed. There's certainly a lot of intrigue. People are looking for those answers. The way they carried out that stealth operation was savvy. It was sophisticated. It was well armed. It sounded like a trilingual thing. It looked like I don't know if you've seen the latest footage, but it looked like Jovenel Moise's presidential guard just was on the run because they thought it was the DEA.
Right.
Which what a
crazy.
mind trick. Yeah, what a mind trick. As soon as you see a white man or hear the DEA, you internalize, I'm gonna put my gun down after all your training. So there's a lot there in terms of mental colonialism and again, another way to frame this is the death of this petty neoliberal neocolonial puppet a good or bad thing? There's no answer to that. It's neither a good nor a bad thing. It's almost a non-factor in Haitian history. We'll see how it plays out dialectically in the upcoming weeks. But the state immediately yesterday put the whole country under siege, declared a state of emergency. All the organizations at the grassroots, the leftist, anti-imperialist groups, had demonstrations planned for yesterday. They were going to wear all red yesterday, symbolizing the bloodshed of the Jovenel Moise regime. And then today was going to be dressed in all white, a day of mourning. And then Sunday is the big international day. I think Sunday will go forward. But there's a 14-day state of siege. There's a 14-day state funeral, mourning period, official mourning period. And it's like, but all the journalists, all the revolutionaries, all the grassroots activists, all the innocent bystanders, we're talking hundreds and by now thousands, they didn't get one day of official mourning. So bunch of bullet points just to jump into the hypocrisy, the U.S. media's response. I mean, I read it to know how the enemy's thinking, but they're already talking about a reinvasion and a reoccupation of Haiti.
And that's a conversation that I had yesterday. And do you think it will be? Do you think it will be like a coalition between probably Colombia and Brazil with a U.S. coalition?
Yeah, well, the Colombian sycophant, the Colombian tyrant, Ivan Duque, immediately put out a public statement that the OAS should be fully involved, as if they weren't already fully involved. They met with Jovenel Moïse last week, continued to co-sign with this regime, this unconstitutional, undemocratic regime. Jovenel Moïse had no support in Haiti. And a lot of Haitian Americans too. I hope a lot of Haitian Americans can jump on this and debate. And if you follow these Haitian American IG pages, they're like, today is your day to cry. And it's like, shoot, the last century has been your century to cry and beyond mourning to fight back. So this whole thing about Jovenel Moïse as a victim, I don't think we should be either cavalier, because I've heard the opposite end too. People out here celebrating his death. I'm like, the Haitian people were hungry yesterday, and the Haitian people are hungry today. Ain't nothing changed.
Nothing changed, and they're just going to have another puppet in power.
And that's who Claude Joseph, he's the acting interim prime minister. He's not even the official prime minister, because they just named the 7th prime minister. These are named by the executive, Jovenel Moïse himself. These are not democratically elected prime ministers. The PHTK, the party in power, the bald-headed party, it's not even a professional name. And these are not professional individuals, which is one of the theories right now, that they got rid of this dude. Different intelligence services, the Central Intelligence Agency and other intelligence agencies in the U.S., such as the DEA, are in constant contact with their puppets, their neocolonial agents in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Colombia, in Haiti. So they monitor these things very, very closely. This was a high-level hit. This was not like the gangsters down the block. There's one road up, there's one road down. This was heavily guarded. Haiti, Port-au-Prince is the most socially stratified city on earth, where you have the absolute pole of excess, mansion chandeliers, full security forces, servants galore. Servants is a word we wouldn't even be in our vocabulary. And then at the other pole, extreme misery. So it's not like some gangsters got some guns together at 1 a.m. like, yo, let's go run up on this fool.
Is that what they're saying? They're trying to say this was like gangsters involved?
Well, maybe international gangsters with all types, gun runners and gun connections, because these Haitian puppet regimes, a lot of them have direct training from the National Endowment for Democracy, like Claude Joseph, and that gets CIA money. So there's this whole umbrella. I think the Gray Zone does an incredible job at pointing out this elaborate network of NGOs, and these guys they put in power have all types of U.S. expert training. We're still alleging exactly how it all played out, but this footage has emerged. This night footage. There was some type of neighbor saying, "Yo, they're taking the president. They're taking the president."
Yeah.
So I was just going through that footage, like, what is this? What does this mean? It's a violation of Haiti's sovereignty, no matter how you slice it. And is it going to lead to further usurpations of Haiti's self-determination?
That's a very good question. What is going to happen next? Because now that the Western media now wants to talk about it, when they have been avoiding talking about it since 2019. And I know that you were on the ground. Two questions. So in 2019, how serious was it, and the outcry of the working class in Haiti? And then the last question would be, what do you think will be the future of the working class now that this is going on? I know we talked about intervention, but what is like your idea? What do you think is going to happen now that we have this situation with President Mosby being assassinated?
Yeah, 2019 was Pays Loc. There's a lot of English fused into Haitian Kreyol because of the nature of colonialism and neocolonialism. So Pays Loc meant locked down country. and the Haitian mass movement had a strategy. If we lock down the country with protests and rallies and civil disobedience and every type of disobedience, forget being civil, because why do we have to be civil with the class enemy and the imperialist enemy, right? If we lock down the country Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're going to be so frustrated by Thursday, Friday, they can't operate business-wise, economically, politically. So that was 2019. It was a mass movement. That's the mass movement. I've been studying Haitian Kreyol in and out of Haiti in the diaspora since 1998. I mean, my entrance into the Haitian revolutionary movement was vis-a-vis Haitians in DR. And that's a whole nother podcast and subject. But Haitians in DR have been treated as second-class citizens. There's a socio-economic apartheid against Haitians in DR. And that's when it dawned on me the necessity of learning Haitian Kreyol. And that brought me into Haiti with these leftist forces who are very well trained, very well versed. They don't need no missionaries. They don't need no mercenaries. They don't need no Mormons, the triple M's of evil there. All they need is themselves. So when Joe Biden's out there and Boris Johnson talking about count on us for anything, all the Haitian people want is for you to step back and leave them alone. But that's something the LA Times and
for hundreds of years, bro. Literally, for hundreds of years. Step back, white man. Is that simple?
Exactly. And the Washington Post will never quote an important voice like you, Chabadi, or others. I'm actually interested. The Black Alliance for Peace has been doing amazing work, and they had an interview yesterday with the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal and the whole gamut of bourgeois newspapers. I'm curious because with these big, just so people understand how the mainstream media works, they'll interview when Fidel Castro died. USA Today hit me up, and USA Today was on the phone with me for 20-25 minutes, and all they wanted me to do, somehow, some way, pulling my teeth, they wanted me to somehow concede on some level that Fidel Castro was, you can fill in the blank with the word that they would use, a dictator. And I was like, and I told the dude, I was like,
they wanted you?
And I was like, sir, how much time do you have to waste today? You asked the same question remixed in 9 manipulative ways. You're not going to get me. The true dictatorship is right here. And I know you'll never put that in USA Today. And they're just going to find the little sound bites that fit their narrative. So it'll be interesting for your audience they can then go through and piece through and see how the mainstream media will manipulate this. But that's the number one demand right now of the anti-imperialist movement from New Haven to San Francisco across this country. U.S. hands off of Haiti. To say for the U.S. to get involved in Haiti is crazy because the U.S. is involved in Haiti. I was in the middle of documenting so much. A lot got interrupted. Right now, it feels trivial. Some things I wanted to post. Maybe there'll be a time. There's all these sweatshops across Haiti, and outside the sweatshops, it says U.S. aid. And it's like, so these NGOs, these nonprofits, these U.S. government agencies, these aid organizations directly support sweatshops, which pay Haitians $3 to $4 to $5 a day.
Jesus.
And I want to.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no, it's worse. It's worse than 1,000. Jesus Christ! It just gets worse and worse. And that's something we've been talking about way before. Moise got assassinated is one word, murdered. I remember Chris Rock. Rock, that skit. World star. Do you remember Chris Rock had the skit where he was like, Martin Luther King got assassinated. What happened to Malcolm was an assassination, but Biggie Smalls, that wasn't an assassination. And I'll let y'all watch the clip. and I'm not saying what happened to Biggie Smalls wasn't equally tragic, but what vocabulary do we use? And the words that we use with language liberation is very important. And Haitian Americans, like, if you weren't crying last week, don't start crying yesterday. Learn your true history, because the power structure, the ruling class, That's what they've truly robbed from Haitian Americans. So a lot of Haitian Americans are putting up Jovenel Moise as a victim, as a martyr.
Yes, I've seen it all over.
And how do we, and this is the battle of ideas. How do we interject with a different way forward? Another important part of this battle of ideas is that there is hope. Haiti is always overcome. Haiti is the eternal shining example of self-determination. The Haitian people believe, and if the Haitian people can believe, why can't we believe? When I left late Monday, so I was out of there, 24, less than 20, something like 24 hours before this. I had no idea of knowing that Haiti was going to become the #1 news story in the world, because who cares about Haiti, right? Just interesting title for an article. Now everyone cares about Haiti. Haiti was trending for like 18 hours straight, which for Haiti is probably some type of record. Right. When I left, gasoline was $10 per gallon.
Wow.
$10 for a gallon of gas. And I was kicking it with these neighborhood teenagers, thugged out, and I was just breaking balls. And they would go out at night with straws, and they would draw the gasoline out of unsuspecting gas tanks. And that would be their little hustle, then to go sell that gasoline. So things are so dire in Haiti. And now all the articles are things are now worse in Haiti. How does it get worse than centuries of imperialist neocolonial plunder? So this is a huge educational moment. That's the thing. That's the dialectical strangeness of this moment. Right. Jovenel Moise's death opened up this educational opportunity that we can step into. I mean, our phones are my whole plan yesterday was to try to finally sleep and rest after. I mean, Haiti's intense. Like, the Haitians always break my balls. They're like, you can bring all the fans you want, but there's no electricity. So what you going to do with those fans? They're like, we're going to buy you a $300 fan. What you going to do with it? So, they like to tease me because when I was younger, I could, I could thug it out, but I ain't so young, Jabari, no more. If I don't have my fan and it's
still look good, man.
100 degrees humid in Haiti, ain't nobody sleeping, in the mosquitoes. So with your other question, the future, the future. Well, the main demand since February 7th, when Jovenel Moise, and I don't even think he ever had a constitutional mandate. We should dissect it. 5 years ago, he only got 500,000 votes in a country of 12 million. I mean, he was extremely unpopular. These were sham elections. He dissolved the 10 senators who exist. The Senate ceased to exist. He's been ruling by decree, meaning is one individual despot. So again, for anyone saying that he was a victim, it's just a strange formulation. Yesterday, just to make another analogy to bring it home to a U.S. audience, like y'all remember when Trump got COVID? Like, were y'all sitting back like, poor Trump, he's got COVID? No, you weren't. So you're not going to cry for a neo-colonial dictator either. At the same time, we weren't wishing death on the dude. And a lot of
I'm not going to lie.
Well, you can say that. I can't say that publicly, but you can say that.
It's my show.
It's your show, exactly. Well, I'm a guest. I'm gonna keep it diplomatic. Me and TeleSUR actually were going back and forth live on the air yesterday because, and this is an interesting point of international relations. TeleSUR has to keep it diplomatic, and TeleSUR is talking about all the flags of this country and that country are at half-mast, and I'm like, I said it straight up. I made it plain and said, were those flags at half-mast last week when they killed Antoinette Duclair, when they killed Diego Charles, when they killed this revolutionary and this journalist and this protester that I was shoulder to shoulder with? Zépal sous zépal, tant qu'on haïtien yo abdi, as the Haitians say. And TeleSUR was like, tone it down. And it's just interesting. Solidarity with who? How is the Haitian dictator? That's not the masses of Haiti. Solidarity with the Haitian people. Solidarity with the Haitian working class. Solidarity with Haitian women. Solidarity with the Haitian peasantry.
Facts.
Not solidarity with the sellouts, the Uncle Toms. For those who haven't been exposed to Creole, Tissu Blanc. Tissu Blanc. That means Uncle Tom in Creole. That's a sellout. In Spanish, Vende Patria, you sell your homeland. A Tissu Blanc. Jovenel Moïse, Michel Martelly, all the way back to Duvalier. These are the textbook Uncle Tom Tissu Blancs. So, you know, would you mourn the loss? I'm trying to think of the textbook example of an Uncle Tom in the U.S. context, the Supreme Court injustice himself, Clarence Thomas. Would you mourn his passing? That's one example. So people who are mourning, you know, save your tears for a more appropriate occasion. The future of Haiti, I'll follow your lead time-wise, because once we get to rapping, forget about it. I still feel like I'm in Haiti. To wake up one day and then you on this plane, and it was a weird flight. Spirit Airlines was one of the only airlines. You know, they always have them shady flights. Spirit Airlines, you can save $75, but then you got to check your bag in, and that's $85, so you end up losing anyway. So no support.
$85.
Spirit. No, that's how they get you. No support for Spirit Airlines or no corporate airlines on this program. You know, when are we going to have a people's airlines, a proletarian airlines, so people like yourself can be on the ground in Haiti? Because that's what we need. And we've been talking about international delegations to Haiti, but we want to make sure the conditions are safe enough. Because there's one thing, if anything would happen to me and there's some other Bolivarian journalists who I'm proud to call, you know, comrades, colleagues, compañeros, but I feel horrible if I'm on a delegation and I'm translating and something happened to anyone else. I can't be responsible. I can be responsible for, I know Haiti well, and I know how they're going to come at me and how I'm going to come back. Because every, you know, game respects game, and every hood has its laws. And if you respect those laws, you're good. So the Haitian people's demands, they didn't change in any way. In the past, what are we at now? 36 hours.
36 hours.
Yeah, 36 hours since I don't know, the world again recognized that Haiti exists. The amount of hunger in Haiti. I was in a community meeting on Sunday, and we had a whole debate about hope, because they're like, blanc. That's what everyone calls me in Haiti. Blanc. Blanc means white man or gringo, as you can predict. And I have to always say, my mom did not name me Blanc. My name's Danny. And they kick out of that one. But no matter how many times I remind them, I'll always be a Blanc, T Blanc, a little white boy. But you know, that's the heritage of 5 centuries of white supremacy parachute down on Haiti. The demand of salut public, a people's exit, a people's solution. No OAS, no United Nations. We got to stop saying United Nations. It's the United Imperialist Powers.
Thank you. God.
It's the usurper. It's the usurper nations, the true UN.
Y'all have fucked the Palestinians. All right, fucked the Palestinians. I just wanted to say that.
And as if the UN cared about the Palestinians, as if the usurper nations cared about Haiti. Haiti's the Palestine of the Caribbean. And Palestine's the Haiti of the Middle East, the most neglected, the most displaced. And it's only people to people solidarity. Maybe we can put there in the public comments. I'll put it to you here. I want to tell you one of the main revolutionary organizations on the ground there. It's called Molegaf. Because if I put it, will people see it in the comments? I don't know if
they'll see it. They'll see it
in the StreamYard.
I get a lot of views later on.
The The comments are disabled, so you can put the
Oh,
comments.
it's
But
disabled?
I think for me, you didn't trust me just that much, so you had to make sure you're at a little extra
I'm
level.
sorry.
You're like, I ain't talked to this cat in a few years. Let me make sure.
No, you're good. I
No,
don't know how to fix that, but yeah, it's
there
in
you
now.
go.
It's going on Facebook, it's going on YouTube and Twitter as we speak.
So Mole Gaf is the Black Panther Party for self-defense, or the Young Lords, if you will, of Haiti. These are the soldiers on the ground. These are poets. These are popular educators. These are mothers. These are fathers, and we want them to grow, of course. So we have a people-to-people fundraiser. As I was in Haiti, we have to understand devaluation of a people's currency is a weapon of war. It's something that we just accept. We're really an unthinking people. I say that in the most polite terms. We're an unthinking people, that you can be in Haiti and wake up and your currency is called the good Haitian. The good could be worth 83 for $1 in April, and then you wake up and magically it's 104 goods for $1. Who decides that? And of course, they'll say the invisible hand of the markets and the push and pull factors. If y'all go back to those dreadful economy classes, which taught us nothing back in undergraduate, those traumatic experiences, where those teachers are basically miseducated to miseducate. How do you devalue a people's currency? And then you want to build walls. So the Dominican government, what's the Dominican government doing right now? They're building a wall against Haiti, and they immediately closed their borders yesterday morning.
Of course. Thank you, Dominican Republic. Thank you so much for being freaking colonized. That damn government. I swear to God.
No, it's painful.
That's what you
painful.
do? That's what you do? That's the first thing you do? Like, really? You're on the same fucking island. Like, the same shit that's going to happen to Haiti is you targeted next, bro. Like, it's going to happen. Stop trying to act like you're different. You black.
Oh, you can curse on this podcast. I'm excited now. Let me get my little curses in. So, students of Haitian Kreyol, you say, "Colan get mama blanc." That would mean like go F imperialism. Colan get mama blanc. And if you literally translate that, it's not pretty. You know how curse words, when you translate, like the old school Russian Soviet curse words, you'd like be calling someone's mother a boar or a pig or a swine. It's like that type of translation. So people they can go look up Colan get mama blanc. But that's a shout. That's a warning to the imperialists. The Haitian people are gonna resist any further encroachment on their sovereignty, even if all they have is machetes and rocks. Just like the United Nations occupation of 2004, which was shamefully led by Brazil. In Lula, we would support Lula against the right wing, but Lula, in terms of what he did to Haiti, I don't know if Lula's ever spoken about this publicly, but it's the great scar.
I follow him on Twitter, and ever since he got out, and I haven't seen him speak about it. I saw that he's running again. I don't know if that's still going.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's not that, again, we don't want to be extremists. We want to be dialectical. We want to be balanced in our thinking, because people, when Lula got out of jail, I tweeted something about Lula's out and something against fascism. And if you're not against capitalism, you're not against fascism. And all these people, Haiti watchers hit me up. Oh, that means that you supported the colonial occupation of Haiti. And it's like, whoa. I mean, Lula's being attacked from the right wing. That doesn't take away from the crimes that these 2,000 Brazilian soldiers, the initial force was 10,000 U.S. troops led by Brazilian generals, which Lula really didn't even have control over, because the Brazilian ruling class is also split over PT and Bolsonaro. Things are more complex, and people just want to put it all on Lula. But Lula, he was the president, so he has to take the rap. And that goes back to the colonized thinking that you put on the Dominican government, the Dominican ruling class. Tonight, I have a debate in DR. It's one of the first times the right wing has finally accepted a debate about Haiti. The name of the debate is something like terribly racist. It's like typical Dominican ruling class racist language. It's like Haiti, more corruption and voodooism, or international salvation. It's the worst title ever. Wow. But we want to be in those ideological arenas. Right. That's what we need to be. Facts. You know, that's why what you're doing, Jabadi, is important. Who can you reach? You need to reach them young sisters and brothers on the block who really haven't been exposed to Haiti. I mean, what have we heard about Haiti our entire lives? Catastrophe, earthquake, tragedy, little kids, flies around their heads. And that's not Haiti.
Well, I don't want to take up more of your time. I want to thank you so much for coming. I have one last question, and this is actually a funny question. Somebody asked me, do they think that it was the Venezuelans that assassinated president? And
that question could only come from somebody in the U.S. who has unfortunately been exposed to ABC, CNN. I forgot that this was supposed to be a funny question. I thought it was going to be like humor in the sense of real humor. And I started to answer the question in the most serious way. But the propaganda is so thick. Venezuela, what Venezuela did for Haiti and what Haiti's done for Venezuela, the Venezuelan people in the Gran Colombia, because remember, Bolivar wasn't just operating, and people should study Bolivar's trajectory. And I'm making an ascending trajectory because okay, he was born into a slave-holding family, but how did he die? He died on the front lines against slavery. And it was Boyer and Christophe and the Haitians who educated Bolivar. So people should study Bolivar's trajectory. And people ask this question, was Bolivar good or bad? No. Things are more complex. That's a catchy name for a podcast. Little wink out there to whoever's listening for a future podcast, but it's a lot deeper. Like there's 500-page books that you have to read to begin to peel back those layers. So to try to somehow say that the Venezuelans were involved in this is ridiculous. It's like, on 9/11, out of the 19 attackers, 13 were Saudi. U.S. didn't invade Saudi Arabia. You can't invade an invaded country. There were already 500,000 troops stationed there in order to invade Iraq. Right. Already a neo-colony. So that's why they're going to villainize Venezuela, because they need every excuse they can. But why would... And that's why I think TeleSUR's tone was so tempered. Flags are at half-mast. And the word in Spanish is magnicidio, which doesn't translate to English, but it means the death of a ruling figure, or we say regicide in English, but that's the death of a king. But I was like, magnicidio, and is this really a day of mourning? And TeleSUR has to be a lot more diplomatic, because when you're confronting a blockade, Venezuela has the right to trade with anybody so they can feed their people. Right. And they can put gasoline in their tanks, and they can extract their own oil, which the blockade doesn't allow them to do, as the Marco Rubios and the Joe Bidens and the Trumps seized Citgo and PDVSA, and the Bank of England seized $200 billion worth of Venezuelan gold. Highway robbery from Haiti to Venezuela. Same system, same enemy, one struggle. Oh, man. Thank you so much, Danny Shaw. I don't want to take up more of your time. I know you're a very busy guy, helping making this world such a better fucking place for working class people. And last remarks. I just want to thank you so much for giving me your phone number and coming on this show, man. You're definitely a friend of the show. Love to have you back on again. And you have a really good day, bro. Have a good day. Yeah, thank you. I'll just say goodbye to everybody. We just coming back into the U.S. We lost a 19-year-old overdose, and it's like right back to Babylon. I left one part of Babylon. The whole capitalist system is Babylon, and until we fight back and politicize the addiction and the overdoses, right before this, I got to keep it real, honest and spiritual. I came out of my 12-step recovery because all these things, we're human.
Right.
And like, how do you fall asleep at night when what they're doing to Haiti and when they're killing our 19-year-olds? My son's 19.
Right.
You know, and so all power to the people. We're gonna keep fighting. Stay strong,
Thank
brother.
you so much, Danny. Blessings. Have a good day.
Peace, peace.
Collectively transforming community, peace in our human family, volume of unity, divine light shining individually, collectively transforming community, peace in our human family.
One love, one growth, as above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul, the red pill dissolved. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians start wars, they don't fight, they send the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light, light warriors.